Hi guys, and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now today I'm going to show you how to make these outstanding sugar shoes to place directly onto your beautiful cakes. Now this is a 10-inch cake, so you can see just how large the actual sugar shoes really end up on there. I'm going to take you through everything step by step like I always do. If you like what you see, please do subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and happy baking guys. Let's get cracking. The first step to creating your edible high-heeled shoe is to make the actual high heel, which does need to be left to set for a good couple of days. So all I have here is some modelling paste. I do have a recipe on how you can make your own modelling paste if you choose to, which I will leave in the description below this video. And then simply place it inside your mould. So you have something just like that. You can neaten this up in a bit, but first what I want to do is using a food skewer, using the pointed end, I'm just going to go up and straight through the centre. I did actually line this silicone mould with a little bit of Trex vegetable fat. So all I'm going to do now, I just want to check that hasn't gone through, and it hasn't. As you can see, it's just all the way through the centre. And all we need to do now is literally just leave this in the mould to set for a couple of days. And every now and then we're going to keep on twisting the skewer just so that we can actually pull it out. Now what we need to do is cover this heel that's been left to set for a few days. And for this I'm using some ready-made Renshaw's black fondant. I've got a Stanley knife and also some Tylo powder. I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of the Tylo powder to the fondant to knead it in to create some modelling paste, just so it's easier to work with. So all I've done here is rolled out my black modelling paste so it's fairly thin, and I've also placed some edible glue just on this part of the heel on the top, so not on the underside just yet. Simply pick up your modelling paste and we're going to place it over the heel. Using your knife, cut away the excess modelling paste. Just like so. Now what I'm going to do with one of these pieces, I'm going to make sure that that's the side I have facing up where all the icing sugar was. And on the other side of my heel, this is what I'm now going to cover with more modelling paste. So add edible glue and place it on top. Again, cutting away the excess modelling paste. And that is what you are looking for. Now don't worry about all of this icing sugar, we can get rid of that on the next step, but I want to add the sole of the shoe first. So now I'm wanting to add the sole of the shoe. So what do I have here? Well, this is what they call a former. It's just styrofoam. It's made to the exact heel size. So what I would recommend is that you buy a sugar shoe kit rather than buying everything separately, just so you've got everything the correct size. This is the cutter for the actual sole. Again, this is my modelling paste. And all I've done here is cover the styrofoam with some baking parchment, just to help protect it so that it can be used over and over and over again. So for the actual sole, it is being rolled in between 5mm spaces because we want it fairly thick but not too thick. So I can move those out of the way now. Cut out the sole and remove any excess modelling paste. Styrofoam comes into play then. So we have our heel, which is all lovely and set and covered. And I'm literally just going to put some edible glue onto the top of the heel, but quite a bit. I'm going to be very generous with it. Now this won't stop in place on its own, it will tipple over, so just have to hold it for a second. Pick up the sole of your shoe literally a case, again, of leaving this to set. Let me just show you the actual shoe so far. You can just see that thin line just down there. That's where I've added a thinner layer just on top, just to give it more support. Now we want to do the insole. Now for this, I'm actually going to be using food contact glitter. A lot of people that have these on their cakes do like to keep them, and it's sugar so it will last indefinitely. However, if your customer is not wanting to keep theirs, you may not want to use food contact glitter in case they do want to eat it. So for this, all I have done is cut out another sole. I'm having the inside silver, so I've done my sole grey. And then just cut off the rim so it's slightly smaller, like so. Now I'm going to cover this with the food contact glitter before I place it on the shoe. So if I just move this to one side, bring my tools forward. So for this, you want some kitchen roll or paper towel, as you call it in other countries, some edible glue. This is the Rainbow Dust Food Contact Glitter that I'm choosing to use. They do now do an edible range, so you could always use that. I just find it's not quite as sparkly. And you're going to need 2 brushes. One for the Food Contact Glitter and then one for the glue. So if you just add the glue first, and sprinkle the glitter on first before we start with the brush. Perfect. Now we are actually going to apply this to the shoe now, even though it's still sticky. So I'm just going to bring this over here. More glue. Beautiful. If I just hold this up, you can see the difference it actually makes, and that's before we've even added the front of the shoe and the back, which we're going to do now. The next part, I'm going to add the back of the shoe and the front of the shoe. So these are the cutters that have come with my kit. Yours may vary slightly, but they will still have the front and the back. So just using a little bit of edible glue. Again, this is being rolled out using modelling paste. You won't need anything to support the back depending on what type of kit you've got. Okay, so that's the back of the shoe. If I just hold this up and show you how simple that was, just to stick down. So now I want to add the front. Now for this, it will need a little bit of support because it's going over. I just hold this to the camcorder again. But because this is arched, I want to give it a little bit of support. So all I have done is got some kitchen roll and wrapped it in cling film, because we've got to remember this part is still a little bit sticky. And I'm just going to feed it through, and that will just help hold that in place whilst it sets. I'm going to let this set now and then add a little bit of bling, and it literally is almost finished. It is as simple as that. So all I have used for the diamante effect, you will have seen this a lot when you've made cakes. This is the diamante ribbon that you can attach to cakes, but you can cut it to any length, any thickness that you want. So I've attached some edible glue to the side of my cake. I still need a few more diamantes up here. So I've literally just cut 4. Obviously these are not edible, but they can be removed from the sugar shoe very easily. And if I just stick those on, just there you go. If I hold this up to the camcorder now, it really is as simple as that, guys. So what would you do when you wanted to apply this to your cake? Well, you remember the hole that we left in the centre of the heel? if you use your food skewer facing downwards, you push this section into the heel and the rest into the cake, and it acts as a strong support. So imagine your cake's there all the way to the drum, stops there, and then this top part is all the way through your heel. These food skewers are fantastic because if your cake isn't that deep, you can just cut the skewer down until it's the right height. But in transportation, it's going to help stop your shoe from doing that because they are quite weighty, but you've got a very, very uneven area just here where it is going to flop slightly. So that's what the hole is for. Much safer in transportation. Get making them, guys, but I would highly recommend that you buy a sugar shoe kit rather than buying everything separate. Happy baking. If you like what you see, please do share the tutorial, and I'll be back soon with more.